The Barbarian is a timeless classic of TTRPG design. You'll find it in pretty much any fantasy role-playing game, even in science fiction-based ones or Weird West ones. It's everywhere. So, the challenge to all of you is, how does your game handle the Barbarian archetype? Hi, I'm Peter, creator and lead designer of Tales from Elsewhere, and after my Balance and Symmetry video, I was talking to Zarek over at Indominant RPG, which is a superhero role-playing game, and he had this idea where we could challenge other indie creators with showing off their version of a barbarian. Now, it doesn't have to be something like a traditional barbarian, just how would they filter it through the lens of their game? So here's how it works. Over the next month, put together a presentation, whether that's a blog post, a YouTube video, an Instagram video, whatever platform you're currently using, about how you handle the barbarian archetype in your game. Just keep it short, under 10 minutes, maybe 5-6 minutes. And then at the end of February, me and Zarek are going to live stream going through all of the submissions. And there's not going to be a rating system. We're not trying to find a winner or a loser. It's just to spread the word about cool indie RPGs and have some fun seeing all the myriad ways that you can conceptualize the barbarian archetype. Now, you don't have to be a big-time creator or even have a large platform. All you need to do is tag the hash #getbarbaric on the video or at either Tales from Elsewhere Games or Odin's Key Games on the video so that we know it exists. That way we can filter them all down, gather them, and review them at the end of February. Now, even if you're not a tabletop role-playing game developer, maybe you're just a passionate hobbyist and there's some game you'd like to present, that's okay too. If you have any sort of platform and want to show us, say, how you'd make a barbarian in Savage Worlds, looking at you, Savage Goose, I expect good stuff, that's totally fine too. Just so long as it's a way to present something that people may not know about that would be fun to see. Now, if you have questions about this fun challenge or want to connect with me and Zarek, hop into the Tales from Elsewhere Discord. There's going to be a channel dedicated to this Get Barbaric challenge. So come hang out, chat with us, and we'll help get the word out about your game. We're hoping to get a lot of submissions on this, so spread the word if you can. Share this video with a content creator or game designer you're a fan of, and maybe we can get a big list. We already have 4 or 5 designers lined up, already interested in submitting to it, so hopefully we'll get a lot more. Definitely spread the word if you can. And now for my submission to the Get Barbaric challenge. Now, I'm not going to submit the reworked barbarian I did in my previous video, as that's not really in the spirit of this challenge. That was just a fun exercise. Instead, I'm going to present how I made a interesting barbarian character in the Clockworld setting for Tales from Elsewhere. Now, this is a post-apocalyptic Weird West setting, so you're not going to have traditional fantasy archetypes, but let me show you what I put together. It was a lot of fun. In Tales from Elsewhere, you build a character by choosing a profession, culture, and incident, and these choices give you all sorts of narrative and mechanical benefits. So let's run through Herbert Herb Buckley, my barbarian-like character. So I chose Frontiersman for profession, Outlier for culture, and Received a Vision for incident. So this is somebody who's been living on the fringe of society, exploring the ruination, and was raised in a remote mountain community. And at one point, he received a vision from elsewhere, something that pushed him out into the world. And these combinations are what gives us this kind of unique build. So I wanted Herb to be big and strong and deadly in a melee fight. So I made his one master skill, Might. This is going to let him bust down doors, pick up heavy things, throw people off cliffs, all the stuff you'd expect from a big, strong guy. His 2 adept skills are melee and athletics. Melee skill is pretty self-explanatory. This is how he's going to fight with his big felling axe. And I gave him adept athletics so that he can run and jump and climb and just be generally quite mobile. I rounded out his skills with just a few all-purpose choices. I gave him Novice in range so that he could use his rifle with a bit of accuracy, Novice in reflexes so that he can sneak around a little bit, and then I did Acuity and Bravado to, again, help round out his social skills so he can track things a little bit better, notice lies a little easier, and with Bravado he can maybe intimidate people. Now, Herb's edges are what's really going to make him have an interesting take on the barbarian. So at character creation, you have 3 edges, and I've chosen Vendetta, Butcher, and Sustenance from Suffering. With Vendetta, Whenever Herb or one of his allies receives an injury or is wronged by an enemy, he gets a vendetta dice. And these vendetta dice can be used to make his injuries more deadly, to help him with failed skill tests, or even reduce the severity of incoming injuries. So it's not rage per se, but it's evoking something similar. It's a righteous vengeance that he gets when people wrong him. He also has the Butcher Edge. So the way this works is if he injures the limb of an enemy, he can immediately make an additional attack against a different limb on that enemy. So this is that evocation of a barbarian just being able to tear people apart in a fight, letting him literally dismember people, tear them limb from limb. Herb's third edge is Sustenance from Suffering. Now the way this works is whenever another character within close range receives an injury, Herb can use a reaction to remove one strain from himself and become invigorated until the end of his next turn. So he literally is empowered and resuscitated by violence. So as he's using Vendetta and Butcher to tear people apart, or when his allies are receiving injuries, he can use his reaction to remove strain, become invigorated, get more Vendetta dice. So he's just this walking engine of violence as he wades through a fight. Now, because his skills are what they are, his vigor defense is pretty good, his ability to block is pretty good, so he should be able to hold his own in a fight. And by removing strain so frequently from himself, the hope is that he has a lot of staying power in a battle, like a classic barbarian should. And with these combination of edges and his skills and his weaponry, I can see Herb having a lot of interesting decisions to make moment to moment in a fight. He can contribute outside of battle too by using his Master Might to help with skill challenges or puzzles, and he can use his bravado, even though it's only novice rank, to help in social situations as well, inspiring people or intimidating them. As Herb advances, he'll be gaining more edges, and where I'd take him long term would be using things like Send a Message. So whenever he kills a character or inflicts a lethal injury, it'll automatically frighten nearby enemies, making him a terror on the battlefield. Or I'd give him things like Bloodlust, so he always high roll strikes against bleeding characters. Or maybe I'd take him in more of a leadership direction and give him lead by example, where when he inflicts an injury with a strike, his nearby allies will also high roll their afflicts and strikes against that character until the end of the turn. So thanks for checking out my submission to the Get Barbaric Challenge, and hope you all share this with others and get the word out, and I will see you next time on Tales from Elsewhere.